You can piss on my head, but don't tell me it's raining. Canadians are fed up with the lies and the corruption within the Liberal cabinet here in this country. Marco Mendicino has been under fire for his incompetence of having an email that was sitting in his staffer's inbox, which was most likely checked for over 3 months, that stated that Paul Bernardo, Canada's top criminal, worst of the worst scumbag, we should actually be living in a hole underground, went from a high security prison to a medium security prison, and somehow they forgot to tell the general public. Now, if there was an ounce of integrity, or if Liberals wanted to actually farm votes or do something good for this country, why not have announced that you received the email and said, hey, whoa, look, this actually is going to be something that the Conservatives aren't going to be able to argue. All parties can come together on this and put him back into where he belongs, a high security prison. But no, the Liberals missed their opportunity, not because it was an accident, but because they're idiots. They are idiots, and they only try to do the right thing when they are caught doing the wrong thing. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Buckle up. This is going to be a great one. Marco Mendicino is in the hot seat in this committee meeting. And before we get into it, I want to encourage you to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps grow the channel. We are very close to 300,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane because we're competing with mainstream and legacy media, kind of pulling more views than them too, which is just mind-blowing. No further ado, let's take a look at the video.
Minister, do you know what an issues management note is?
Yes.
Is that your final answer? I'm jesting.
Okay.
So already you're ahead of your predecessor, who is now verbally sparring with CSIS over the information exchange that should have happened in relation to MP Chong. So prior to issuing your ministerial directive, can you tell this committee how many of your issues management notes you've personally read?
Madam Chair, I want to thank my colleague for the question. I obviously briefed routinely, weekly, often daily on issues. The point of the ministerial directive was to ensure that there's good intelligence, stronger intelligence flow from our officials to the elected branch of government. So we feel as though we've strengthened internal governance on that point.
So my specific question is, you've indicated that you know what an issues management note is. They've been around, according to CSIS, since 2015. My specific question is, do you see each issues management note issued to you by CSIS? Yes or no?
I will see issues management notes. They take different forms. Some come directly from the department. Some come directly from elite agencies. Some come directly from my staff. What's important is that there is a dialogue and there is a flow of information, so that in my capacity as Minister of Public Safety, I can appropriately be upfront with Canadians about any issue that touches on national security or public safety, and that where appropriate as well, I exercise certain ministerial authorities to protect Canadians from issues like foreign interference as well.
So in the context of being upfront with Canadians and establishing the credibility of what's being said here so that we can formulate a report and have proper recommendations going forward. Minister, in January of 2022, you talked about getting advice from law enforcement asking for the triggering of the Emergencies Act, which we found out not to be true. In October of 2022, you had an issue where you misled a federal judge by backdating documents. In January of 2023, you had an issue about the safe third country agreements working effectively and miscommunicating that to Canadians. In April of this year, you had to scrap your amendments to Bill C-21 after saying you weren't targeting law-abiding hunters. In May of this year, you indicated that CSIS never shared intelligence that the communist regime had targeted Mr. Chong and his family, which we now know is not true. In May of this year, you talked about police stations still being open, which is, we know now, categorically wasn't true. And now we know that not only did the Correctional Service of Canada tell your department and your ministry in May of this year, but you were also CC'd on that same memo from your own boss, who forwarded it on to your department or your ministry. And last night, reading through Twitter, your boss and through the Prime Minister's office has said that they sent you that same note, and there was no indication, according to this reporter, that you responded to the Prime Minister's office, and that the Prime Minister's office found out on the 29th, the day before you said you found out on the 30th, that Paul Bernardo was being transferred from a maximum security prison to a medium security prison. It is.
Point of order,
I'm
Mr.
I'm trying to establish credibility of the witness, Madam Chair.
This isn't a courtroom, but okay.
Point of order, Mr. Turnbull.
Madam Chair, it's the same point of order as last time. I just wanted to ask for relevance. I don't know how Mr. Culkins thinks this is relevant to foreign interference, which is what we're here to study, but I'd really like to know how this is relevant to our current study.
So I was just waiting to see where the question was landing, because Mr. Culkins has been around a long time, so he knows how this works. And I was hoping that we were coming back into it. So perhaps that was the case, Mr. Culkins?
The issue is the information that's being shared is being blamed not only by you, but other ministers of the Crown as not getting the information. There is no doubt in my mind, Madam Chair, that the minister had the information about this transfer and had the information about all the other things pertaining to Mr. Chong and every other issue I said. So given that, Madam Chair, I'm going to ask the minister if he can do the one thing that I think he knows he should do. He has a microphone in front of him right now with all of the issues that have been caused under his watch and the issues specifically pertaining to my colleague, Mr. Chong. Will he do the honorable thing and resign right here, right now?
Oh,
Madam Chair,
my God.
I'm focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is doing my job to protect the safety and security of Canadians. That question is so is riddled with inaccuracies and falsehoods, it doesn't even begin to warrant an answer.
Oh my God! Right to his face! Holy crap, man, I love this. And you know what? He deserves to be fired, not even go down on his own sword and resign. People need to be held accountable for not doing their job. And when you fail at doing your job repeatedly, there are punishments. There are consequences. We learned that as a kid when our parents put us in the timeout. Welcome to the real world, bucko. You have failed your job. You have misled people. You have forged documents. You have illegally backdated documents. You have lied to the Canadian public. You have been a devious little Slytherin snake, and now you were so incompetent that you allowed a person who is one of the worst criminals in Canadian history go from a high security prison to a medium security prison without telling anybody. He really does deserve to get kicked out. He's failed at his job. His job is to protect the general public of Canada. He's failed at that so many times. And well, in the real world, bucko, people pay the price for failures. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Should Marco resign? Should he not resign? Should he be fired? Should he not be fired? Really love to read what you guys have to say once the video is posted. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by checking out the merch shop linked right up there. Or if you want to do something for free, which is also absolutely acceptable and highly encouraged, you can subscribe right there. If you want to continue watching videos like this, you can do so by clicking or tapping right there to watch the next upcoming video. And if you want to watch a little bit of different content, but also Canadian stuff, you can do so by clicking right up there. That's my second channel, House of Canada, also known as the House of Commons Highlights. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.